Hello, everybody. Today is a special day in the life of the Methodist Church because as congregations meet around the country and around the world in Methodist churches, today is the day of the Methodist Conference. It's an important day because during today, the new president of conference will lead worship this morning, and during the worship this morning, an important part of that will be the reception into the full connection of the Methodist Church of new ministers, either ministers who have come through training or ministers who have come to us from other countries. So it's an important day. In addition to that, during this afternoon, new ministers who have come to the end of their time of probation will be ordained in special services, and having been tested in their ministry, they will respond as they become full ministers within the Methodist Church in this country. And then in the coming days, Methodist Conference will meet and will debate and make important decisions on the future of the church. And I guess it won't have escaped your attention to the fact that later on this week there will be the general election. And so many people are saying, well, it's a foregone conclusion this time. And yet we don't really know that. But there is a good chance that from Thursday we will have a new government. And I don't know about you, but I'm finding these days really difficult. I'm one of those sad people that has listened to debates about the future leadership. I've listened to the promises people have made, and I'm somewhat cynical as to whether I believe that they are true and that people will keep to the promises that they are making in their manifestos. It's also a difficult time in the Methodist Church because this year in particular, in the Ipswich circuit, we can be fairly certain that we are not going to get the two new ministers we need for the future work of this circuit. And both in a national sense because of government and in a church sense because of what is going on and the shortage of ministers and the ageing of congregations, I find myself at a point in life where I think, I don't know how anything works anymore. I don't know where we go from here. And that makes me feel uncomfortable. Way back in the 1960s, I got a Sunday school prize one year. I got a little book entitled The Little Girl of Capernaum. And I loved that book, and I can remember my mum and dad reading the story to me of the little girl who was really poorly and Jesus made well. And I loved that story. It was one of those nostalgic little stories in the New Testament, one of those stories that we love to tell. And I've grown up with that story. And over the years, I have sort of changed my perspective on it a little bit. The book was entitled The Little Girl of Capernaum, as though the story is about the little girl. But the older I get and the more that I reflect on it, the more it seems to me that the story is about her father, Jairus. And as I look at Jairus in this story, and I look at the things that happen, there are possibly three words that spring to mind: humility, faith, and trust. Jairus is this powerful man, this man who has authority in the synagogue. He's an important man, a very learned man. He has reached the top of his profession. And some of you might feel the same way that I do. I like to think I'm a self-sufficient sort of bloke, the kind of man who can make my own decisions, make my own way in life, be pretty independent. And I find it quite difficult going cap in hand and asking for help. I find that quite a difficult task, and I will only do it when I haven't managed to sort things myself, when I've explored everything else and it doesn't work. Then I will go and ask for help. And I wonder about Jairus. Jairus, this powerful man that people listen to, that people work with, that people respect and admire. And now he finds himself in this appalling situation. His daughter is ill. He knows his daughter is dying. And I guess that possibly, if he's a good father, and there's nothing to suggest he isn't, he will have tried everything he possibly could to help her, to get the result that the family wanted. And yet, everything else has failed. And I think it took great humility to go to Jesus. Jairus is a Jew. He is one of the Jews that the gospel stories seem to talk against. The sort of opposition to Jesus, you might say. And here he goes to this man who, let's face it, has been a bit of a thorn in their sides. He's questioned what they've done. He's told them that they're getting it wrong. He's stood up against them. He's called them names. And now Jairus needs him. So I think it takes huge humility for this great man to come to Jesus and say, "This is beyond my ability. I don't know how to deal with this. I need you." And Jesus responds, and they set off on their journey. And there's this little cameo comes into the story of the woman who's got this problem with hemorrhaging. She's got this problem she's had for many years, and she wants to be healed. And she's heard about Jesus. And she has great faith, because if she only has to touch the hem of his cloak, she believes that she'll be healed. It's the same kind of faith that Jairus has, that where everything else has failed, this is the man. This is the one who can make all the difference. And rather than saying to the woman, "Hang on, I'm on an urgent mission here, blue lights flashing like mad," Jesus turns to her and he heals her. And I wonder what Jairus felt like. Maybe he felt that Jesus was spending time with her, when maybe he should have been getting on with the job in hand. Yet he still keeps the faith. And he trusts Jesus even when the people can't come out from the house and say, too late, she's died. All is lost. He still trusts Jesus. And he gets his reward, as once again he can embrace his young daughter, knowing that she is well. He gets the reward. So as I stand today, in all honesty, not knowing quite where we go in the future, I'm feeling quite frustrated about it all. In humility, I come to God, saying, I don't know how to sort this. This is beyond my capability. All I can do is rely on you. And that takes faith. To step back and say, I am prepared to do everything I can. Show me the way. And I have to keep the trust in God that has served me throughout my life. That even when things look impossible to work through, God knows the way, even when I haven't a clue. So I would invite you, as you prepare to come and pray and share in some form of prayers of intercession, whether you're sitting at home watching this or whether you're part of a church community and in a short while you'll be sharing prayers, think about those issues that are beyond your capability to deal with. Reflect on them. Have you offered them to God? And if not, maybe the time has come. Think on a global sense, on a national sense, on a church perspective, and in your personal life. Offer these things to God in prayer. Amen.